Hello students, good day to everybody. I was going to start with the poem 3.4, The Will to Win. 3.4, The Will to Win. Now this poem has been reduced. I was ready with my studies for this lecture, but this poem has been reduced. This poem is not there for you. Fine. So, not starting unit 4, there is one poem omitted from unit 4 also. We'll come to that at a later time. I thought I'll just start with prose. Prose is somewhat much more easier than poem. Poem was a bit tough and I enjoyed teaching poems. Now this Joan of Arc that I am going to take, your chapter number 1.5 is a somewhat in a dialogue form, enacted on a stage. And when it is on a stage, then it will be called as play. When it is a play, there should be some playwright or playwriter. So this is one of the biggest name in English literature, taken along with William Shakespeare. That is George Bernard Shaw. George Bernard Shaw, born 1856, died 1950. He was an Irish playwright, writer of plays and a critic. Somebody else is writing, so finding faults or praising it, that is called critic. Wrote more than 60 plays during his lifetime, including major works like Namchin plays like Your Man and Superman, then Pygmalion, then Saint John, and so on. Maybe he was too appreciative of this Joan. Therefore, two plays, one from Joan of Arc and one Saint John. Saint John, yes. Maybe I have not gone through it, but this girl about whom we are going to study, Joan of Arc, she had a very tragic end. She was a fighter, and how fighter she was, we are going to look in this particular play. But then she was burnt to death. She was captured and she was burnt to death in her very early age. So maybe somewhat Saint John. He was a leading dramatist of his time, writer of dramas. He was, for this literary work, he was awarded the highest Nobel Prize in literature in 1925. So George Bernard Shaw is one of the leading English literature writer along with William Shakespeare. What is he trying to show? He is trying to show the story of a young lady of 17-18 years called Joan. The title of the poem is Joan of Arc. Now arc means you have studied arc of a circle. So doesn't relate to that arc of a circle. Then a boat is also known as arc. That is also not related with her name. I have heard many lectures, people are saying that Arc is the name of the place, but I did not found any conviction or truth in that. But yes, her father, Jacques d'Arc, Jacques d'Arc. Her father's name was Jacques d'Arc. Jacques, Jacques d'Arc. So children do get the surname from their parents. So maybe this Arc, that Joan of Arc, comes from the surname of her father. This is the name of the father of Joan. This girl was a very poor girl, a peasant girl. There was a war going on between France and England. A very, very long war, fought for about 125 years. This war is also known as a 100-year war. War of 100 years. It went on for more than, I will say, 7, 6, 13, 126 or some years. From 1337 to 1453, also known as 100 Years' War. The English army had captured most part of the France. The king of France was dead. The prince, the elder son, who had 4 brothers, those 4 brothers were also dead. This elder brother, Charles the Seventh was a weak king. He did not have the will to fight with the Englishmen. Many years had passed, but he was still not crowned as a king because of his meekness. And he was hiding in one of the cities. We'll come to that, maybe New Orleans. He was hiding in one of the cities. Because of this girl, Joan, a peasant girl, she wanted to approach this particular prince, to be crowned prince, and tell him that she was ready to fight the English army. She was ready to liberate, she was ready to free New Orleans. She wanted to see a free French country. She came to one of the king's men at the age of 16 with the proposal. The king's head people sent her back. You are a child. Go back to your home. She went back. She came back again after 1 or 2 years, becoming a strong lady. Now with great determination she came, that this time I am going to tell my generals that I am ready to fight, I am ready to ride a horse, I am ready to wear armor. I need few handful of people to fight the English army, and please allow that. So at the age of 16 she was sent back. After 1 or 2 years, when she comes back, what dialogue takes place between her and the leaders of that particular French army? That is what is shown in this particular act. So what I am going to do, teaching prose is very, very easy, explanations are very, very precise. Your chapter will be on the board. I will do a background explanation to you. I will not face the camera, but it will be a background explanation. Okay? So here it is, your page number 29. The opening scene. The war fought between England and France from 1337 to 1453 has come to be known as 100 Years' War. already explained to you that Joan was a peasant girl, a poor girl, a village girl. She was a shepherdess. She used to rear shepherds in the fields. Joan was a peasant girl born in eastern France who led the French army to several victories during this war. So here only she is introducing herself that she is going to come for war, but here it has been said that she but led the French army to many victories during the war. This play, this act, this drama, this stage presentation begins at the time when all of northern France and some parts of the southwest were under the foreign rule. Foreign rule means English rule. They had captured it. France, major territories of France were under the capture of English army. The English controlled some parts, and there were another tribes called Burgundians. They also controlled the others. Now these are one of the tribes of some countries, Burgundians. So French, this particular Charles the Seventh was a weak king. So everybody was taking liberty. Even English were raiding the French country. The Burgundians were raiding the French country. The city of New Orleans, one of the major cities, one of the few remaining French cities, were held by the English. The year is 1429. We are speaking about 1429. That is when this act is taking place. Captain Robert de Baudricourt. Now French names are very hard to pronounce. They have a very complicated names with many parts silent, many vowels silent, many S's and C's silent. But we will try to not dwell into these names. We will try to go through the drama. Captain Robert de Baudricourt. The short name here is given Robert. Everywhere when we are going to study that, we are not going to take the full name Captain Robert de Baudricourt. Here it is given Robert, so we understand that he is the Captain Robert de Baudricourt, a military officer, is seated at the table. His stewards are servants of these captains. So steward is a captain of this person, Robert. So there are two characters here. One character is Robert, one character is steward. So who is Robert? Robert is a captain. Then there is a steward. Steward is a servant. Okay? So the play starts when the name is given, then that particular person is speaking. So I'm not going to say said. It is given in bold, then that particular person is speaking. The first is, we are speaking about Captain Robert de Baudricourt. We are going to take a short name, Robert. I told you to throw the girl out. Now I think they had already informed that a girl, a lady aged 17 or 18 years wants to meet you, Mr. Robert. And Mr. Robert is a very big general, very big captain. What is that young girl of 17, 18 going to teach him? So he was not ready to meet him. He was angry that why this girl was pestering him again and again. I told you, Robert, I told you to throw the girl out. You have 50 armed soldiers and dozens of strong servants to carry out my orders. Are they afraid of her? You have so many people, 50 armed soldiers and about dozen of strong servants. Send her back. Throw her out. Why are all the people afraid of her? Steward. No, sir, we are afraid of you, but she puts courage in us. You are senior to us. We are afraid of you, but this girl is putting courage in us to say what she wants to say in front of you. She really doesn't seem to be afraid of anything. Perhaps you could frighten her, sir. Let the girl come in front of you. Maybe you can shout on her. You can frighten her. We are not able to frighten her. Instead of that, we are feeling courageous to speak to her. Robert, grimly, a bit seriously. Grimly means seriously. Perhaps where is she now? Steward, down in the courtyard, sir. Wherever there were big mahals or something, forts, so there used to be a big courtyard at down. So the girl was already inside that particular fort. She had already entered there, down in the courtyard, sir. Hearing this, Robert, the captain, goes to the window and asks the soldiers to send the girl up. The girl enters. She is a well-built, strong country girl of 17 to 18 years. The squire. Who is the squire? The captain. The squire is the captain. Squire is a person of high rank, and this particular Robert is a captain, so he is a person of a higher rank. The squire's glare. He was looking angrily at the girl. The squire's glare neither frightens her nor stops her. The girl was not afraid of these big eyes of the captain. She speaks confidently. Joan. Now this girl comes. Joan, the third character. This girl of 17, 18 years girl. The third character. Joan. But naturally, when somebody is very senior to us, so we try to wish him or her first. So, Joan. Good morning, Captain Squire. Giving respect. You are a person of a higher rank. Good morning, Captain Squire. You are to give me a horse and armor and some soldiers and send me to Dauphin. Dauphin is a place. Dauphin is the eldest son who is going to become the king. Dauphin is the eldest son who is going to become a king. So here Dauphin is Charles the Seventh. He is the leading person of France right now. Charles the Seventh is the leading person of France right now. So, good morning, Captain Squire. You are to give me a horse and armor. Armor is a shield that the soldiers wear, that is made up of metal or made up of leather, so that they are shielded from the bullets, from the blade of swords, etc. So that is worn on the body. Okay. Fine. So you had also one question here, that what had Joan wanted? Why had Joan wanted to meet the captain? So Joan wanted to meet the captain to ask him for a horse and armor to be worn and some soldiers and instruction that go and meet Dauphin. Go and meet Dauphin. go and meet the prince. Fine. So John says, good morning, Captain Square. You are to give me a horse and armor and some soldiers and send me to Dauphin. Robert, he is a very, very senior person. This girl, 17, 18 years. Robert, this girl is mad. Why didn't you tell me so, you blockhead? Speaking to his steward, you stupid person, this girl is mad. Alone she is there, she is asking for horse, she is asking for armor, she is asking for few soldiers. But steward, sir, do not anger her, give her what she wants. Do not anger her, give her what she wants. Robert, he had already sent her back when she was 16 years ago. 16 years. Her age was 16 years. She was already sent back. Now, Robert wants to send this girl again back. He thinks that this girl is crazy. Robert, I shall send you back to your father with orders to put you under lock and key, so that you don't speak such foolish things. You are alone, a meek girl, asking for horse, asking for armor, asking for few soldiers, want to go and meet Dauphin, you want to liberate New Orleans. We have a huge army and you single girl is speaking about it. Joan, you think you will square? She was confident that you are going to give me horse, you are going to give me armor, you are going to give me soldier, and you are going to allow me to go and meet Dauphin. Why? You think you will square? Are you going to send me back to the father? No. But it won't happen that way. It will not happen that way. You said you would not see me, but here I am. You had also promised that you are not going to see me, but I am here in front of you. Robert, so you are assuming that I'll give you what you want. So you are taking for granted. So you are confirmed that I am going to give what you want. Joan, yes, square. Continues busily. Fast, she is speaking fast. Yes, square. A horse will cost 16 francs. Franc is the currency of France. A horse will cost 16 francs. It is a big amount of money, but I can save it on the armor. I am not going to create your expenses also. I want only one horse, which is a bit costly. I will use a second-hand armor, somebody else, soldier's armor. I am not asking for a new armor. It is a big amount of money. But I can save it on the armor. I don't need beautiful armor made to my measure. I can find a soldier's armor that will fit me well enough. I shall not want many soldiers. The Dauphin will give me all I need to free Orleans. I need few soldiers only to reach the Dauphin, only to reach Charles VII. From there, I'll pick the big army to free New Orleans. But in order to reach Dauphin, I need few soldiers, maybe 3 to 4 soldiers. That will be enough. Robert, shocked. To free Orleans. Orleans, I said, is a city in France. Joan, simply, yes, square. 3 men will be enough for me. Not even a half a dozen. I need only 3 people. 3 men will be enough for you to send with me. Polly and Jack have promised to come with me. Polly and Jack are short names, pet names of 2 more soldiers. Okay, they were the soldiers. Fine. So this is one soldier, that is Polly. I write short name Poligny, Poulengey. This is Polly. Short name is Polly. 3 men will be enough for you to send with me. Polly and Jack have promised to come with me. 2 people have promised to come with me. You mean Monsieur de Poligny? Monsieur in French, it is called as Mr. So he's speaking about Mr. Poligny. He was surprised that how he was convinced. John, yes. Now there is a question, name the persons who John needed to free Orleans. On your left side it is given, name the persons who John needed to free Orleans. So here it is in this paragraph. She wanted Polly. Yes, Squire Jack. Squire given respect to the high rank person. Yes, Squire Jack will come willingly. He is very kind gentleman and gives me money to give to poor. He used to give donation to this lady to feed the poor people. I think John Godsave will come and Dick the archer and their servants will come. John of Honecourt and Julian will also come. So she has, before coming to Robert, she had already convinced about half a dozen people, and her convincing power was such a good convincing power that everybody was ready to come with her. Everybody was confident about her victory, confident about her confident about her confidence. So, whom is she collecting? First is Monsieur de Poligny, then Squire Jack will come willingly. He is very kind gentleman and gives me money to give to poor. I think John Godsave will come and Dick the archer will also come, and their servants John of Honecourt and Julian will come. There will be no trouble for you, Squire. I have arranged it all. You have only to give order. Robert, to the steward, speaking to the servant, is this true about Monsieur de Poligny? Has Polly also said that he is ready to come? Steward, eagerly. Yes, sir. And about Monsieur de Metz too. Okay. Monsieur, one more. That is Jack. Monsieur de Metz. Monsieur de Metz is the name that John gave above the name of Jack. Polly and Jack. So Polly was Monsieur de Poligny and Jack was Monsieur de Metz. These two were soldiers. They both want to go with her. Robert goes to the window and shouts into the courtyard. He is calling the soldier. Which soldier? Poligny. Monsieur de Poligny. Send Monsieur de Poligny to me, will you? Command has been sent. In short time, Monsieur de Poligny or Polly is going to enter. He turns to John. Get out and wait in the yard. Please move out. Some arrogancy is there here. A peasant girl, how he can stand with her for such a long time. So, get out and wait in the yard. Joan, smiling brightly at him, right square, she goes out. There were 3 persons on the stage. Joan takes an exit and moves out of the stage. Now there are only 2 persons here, Robert and steward. Robert, to the steward, go with her, stay within call and keep your eye on her. I shall have her up here again. She was ready to fight, but here Robert was thinking that she was meek. She was weak, so he wanted his servant to keep an eye on her, to accompany her and see that she is given a good company, so that when in future this Robert wants to call her, she can come back and meet again. The steward retreats hastily, moves away in a hurry. He moves out of the stage behind. So in the background of the stage, we are being told that he is going near Joan. He is following Joan. He is keeping an eye on Joan. Fine. The steward retreats hastily. Bertrand de Poligny, the full name. First it was Monsieur. Monsieur means Mr. And when we call anybody by Mr., so we call by their surname. Mr. Sharma, Mr. Sheikh, and so and so. Okay. Now the full name has been taken. Bertrand de Poligny, a French guard, enters, salutes and stands waiting. Comes in, gives respect to Robert and then waits in attention. Robert, she says, she matlab John. John says, you, Jack and Dick have offered to go with her. What for? Do you take her crazy idea of going to the Dauphin seriously? Again, Robert is still not satisfied. He thinks that Joan has given a crazy idea. So he asks, she says, you, Jack and Dick have offered to go with her. What for? Kyun? Why? Do you take her crazy idea of going to Dauphin seriously? Poligny, Polly, slowly, with a small voice, there is something about her. It may be worth trying. Her words are very, very strong. Her confidence is very, very high. Let her be given a chance. Why don't we try that? Robert, still not said. Oh, come on, Polly. You must be out of your mind. You are also pagal. Why are you thinking with out of mind? What that peasant girl can do? Poligny, still being stubborn, still being unmoved. What is wrong with that? The Dauphin is in Chinon. Now let me tell you. To make it more easy. छुड़ाना है, कैद जो सिटी है, that is New Orleans. Chinon is a city where Dauphin is sitting, hiding. Dauphin जो eldest son है, जो future का king बनने वाला है, whose name is Charles the Seventh, he is sitting in Chinon, hiding himself. What is wrong with it? The Dauphin is in Chinon like a rat in a corner, except that he won't fight. Now यहाँ पे क्वेश्चन दिया हुआ है, was the Dauphin fit to be a prince? And heir, heir मतलब राजा के बाद उसका बेटा बनता है, बेटे के बाद उसका बेटा बनता है, बेटे के बाद उसका बेटा बनता है. That is what is called heir. We have been asked, was Dauphin fit? Now how can Dauphin be fit? He is frightened. He is not motivating his soldiers. Okay. English have taken Orleans and he is sitting hiding like a rat in Chinon. So he is not fit to be a prince. Unmoved, what is wrong with it? The Dauphin is in Chinon like a rat in a corner, except that he won't fight. He is not ready to fight. The English will take Orleans. He will not be able to stop them. Robert, but he had fought many wars before, so he was speaking about what happened before that, about Dauphin. Robert, he beat the English the year before last at Montargis. I was with him. He had already had a war with the English people and he had defeated the English people, to free another city called Montargis. And this Robert was there along with him during that particular fight. Polengi. But his men are cowed now. Now his men are, when the prince himself is frightened, so his soldiers will also be frightened. When the captain is cowed down, when the captain is frightened, the soldiers will also be frightened. So, but his men are frightened and now he can't work miracles. He can't raise the confidence about the soldiers. And I tell you that nothing can save our side now but a miracle. Only a miracle can save us. New Orleans is going to go completely to English. Something has to be done. And that something is best that you give the reins to Joan. Allow her to proceed according to her plans. Robert, miracles are alright, Polly. The only difficulty about them is that they don't happen nowadays. Miracles are there. Miracles can happen. But such a thing is that now during these days, during the current days, miracles do not happen. We have to fight it out. We have to live in reality. This is the times where miracles do not happen. We will wind up the lecture here. The next part of this series and complete the series in our next lecture. Okay? Thank you very much.